Good afternoon, and welcome to the Wednesday afternoon conference call with Trusts Unlimited. This is Jim George speaking. I'm the non-attorney spokesman and facilitator for Trusts Unlimited. I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time to listen to this call, particularly during the holiday season, particularly those of you that are calling in for the first time and those that will be listening to the replay over the next 24 to 48 hours. We like to move quickly through this call, bottom line the information for you. We know you're busy people. You have other things to do. We have a standard format. We spend a few minutes talking about the situation in Iraq with the reinstitution of the Iraqi dinar, which we continue to believe is the base currency for the potential evaluation of some of these other pre-valued currencies. A few minutes talking about the program we've put in place to assist you, and then we go to a brief Q&A. So let's go ahead and get started, but I've got a little reminder here on my notepad before we begin. There will be no call next week, which of course is Christmas Day. There will most likely be no call a week after that, which is New Year's Day. Now, if something of a truly dramatic nature happens between now and then we'll try to get out an emergency email and schedule an emergency conference call. Those that are not clients would probably be able to determine through IQD calls if a call was scheduled. We might have a special notation there, or you can just take a moment and plug in and see if we are in fact on for our conference call. But again, there's definitely no conference call next week, Christmas Day, and probably no call on New Year's Day. Second, by way of disclaimer, as I say on each call, Trusts Unlimited is not the purveyor of the dinar and these other currencies. We're not advocating either the purchase or sale of these currencies, but as rather substantial currency holders ourselves, we're sharing with you the information that we think is relevant. The most relevant piece of information from our point of view is the potential window for the reinstitution of the Iraqi dinar. We continue to believe that January of 2020 is the most plausible window and time frame for the reinstitution of the dinar, and we're going to get into that in a little bit more detail right now. Let's start with the situation in Iraq. Things are moving rather quickly in Iraq. There's a lot of moving parts, but everything's moving in the right direction. There is a constitutional deadline for the nomination of a new prime minister tomorrow, the Thursday the 19th. That will most likely take place. The sitting prime minister, Mahdi, is not a particularly cooperative person, even though he is, in fact, resigning. But things are getting done nevertheless. One of the current nominee, is a gentleman by the name of Mohammed al-Sudani. He is not a particularly popular individual, and I know that the Sadrists are working on another potential nominee to be presented tomorrow. Now, if there is in fact no suitable nominee presented tomorrow, pursuant to the Constitution, Section or Article 81 of the Constitution, the President of the Republic, Salih, can still remain as the interim Prime Minister and the head of the caretaker government. With regard to the new election law, final adjustments to the language are being made, and they expect a final vote on the new election law on Monday, the 23rd. So again, everything's moving in a very good direction. The United States and the IMF have given the CBI the official go-ahead for the project to delete the zeros pursuant to the following stipulations. First, passage of the new election law, which again is scheduled for Monday, the 23rd. Vote for a new prime minister, which could happen as early as tomorrow. And third, the expulsion of the Iranians. Now, the United States and Iran have been in what was initially secret negotiations. Now they're in, a matter of public record. And I think Iran is beginning to buckle, and they finally understand that the current administration in the United States is simply not going to give them a pass. Their economy is in shambles. Their people are protesting. They have killed over 100, over the last couple of years, over 100 individuals, journalists, in the media, and they've killed over 1,000 protesters, including women and children. So Iran is in very bad straits, and they're never going to see the light, but it looks as though they're finally beginning to feel the heat, and they are being expelled from Iraq, the Revolutionary Guard, some of the individuals that have been involved in the violence against the Iraqi protesters, and a number of the corrupt Iraqi officials that basically are puppets for the Iranians are going to be taken to task. One caveat with regard to these stipulations, passage of the 2020 budget is going to be necessary, but is not included as one of the stipulations for the deletion of the zeros. One of the reasons for that is they could theoretically pass a budget at the old 1180 rate, but so long as the government does not make expenditures at that rate, then they're going to be able to rather quickly amend the 2020 budget to reflect the reinstitution rate. And again, the United States and the IMF have given the go-ahead to get this done, and the CBI is moving forward as we speak with the project to delete the zeros. Now, there's a lot of confusion about what this means, and I've gotten a lot of calls recently dealing with this. I'm going to try to explain the formula to you as best as I can. It's going to be a little simplistic, but you'll understand conceptually what's happening here. Today, as we speak, $1 US is worth approximately 1,200 dinar, or 1,200 dinar equals $1. That means that one Iraqi dinar today equals 0.00083 cents. Note there's 3 zeros there, 0.00083 cents. So when they drop the 3 zeros, you can actually say that the zeros are being dropped on both sides of the decimal. Meaning what? It means that by dropping the 3 zeros, the Iraqi dinar, which today is worth 0.00083 cents, will be worth 83 cents. It also means that for an Iraqi national, a 25,000 Iraqi note will be worth 25 dinar. And 25 dinar note at the 83 cents would be worth $20.75. What that means is that the dinar that you hold today is worth 0.00083 cents. After the reinstitution, that dinar will be worth $20, and that $2,500 dinar, $25,000 dinar will be worth $20.75. But the reinstatement only affects a stepped-up value in country. When the IMF takes the Iraqi dinar out of the program rate, it will be worth north of $3. So that means that each dinar note that you now hold, which is worth, as I said, 0.00083 cents, will be worth, let's say, $3.50. Now, that's not an unrealistic expectation because that's approximately what the Iraqi dinar was worth prior to the removal of Saddam Hussein. The dinar of the neighboring countries are all worth about $3 each, and those countries combined do not have the natural resources of Iraq. So if the currency is to be Basel III compliant, it's got to be worth north of $3, and it could be worth north of $4 hypothetically. So the IMF rate will be preceded by the reinstitution rate, and we are on schedule today for the reinstitution of the dinar, January of 2020. Now, if everything falls apart, that's a possibility. It's not a likelihood or a probability, but it is a possibility. It could push this thing all the way to January of 2021. But at this point in time, I see absolutely nothing that could force that to occur. So as we speak today, we're looking at, again, the reinstitution of the Iraqi dinar in January of 2020. Now, for those of you that have not gotten your affairs in order or who may not understand what that means, you've probably got less than 45 days to get your affairs in order. To assist you with that, Trusts Unlimited has put a turnkey program in place to assist you, to help those who for the first time in their life are going to have a substantial amount of wealth to protect, to manage, to invest, and to preserve for their children and their grandchildren. Now, this is a two-phased program. Phase 1 is pre-RV. Phase 2 is post-RV. Pre-RV involves the establishment of a pre-RV package of asset protection trusts with the assignment of your currencies on paper to that trust product. Post-RV involves all of the products, services, and professional referrals that will be made available to you after the revaluation of the dinar and hopefully some of these other currencies. So let's start with phase 1, which is, again, the establishment of your package of asset protection trusts with the assignment of your currencies on paper to that trust product. There are a lot of entities that one can establish to provide asset protection, but there is a reason that Trusts Unlimited has established a package of trusts. For example, individuals can establish entities like LLCs and sub-S corporations. Those are business entities, and they do provide a modicum of asset protection, primarily by dividing business assets from personal assets. But the problem here is that the currencies are not a business asset. They are a personal asset. In addition, courts have ruled that LLCs and sub-S corporations owned in the majority by one person or a small, closely held group can be pierced for civil litigation, meaning that the LLC and the sub-S corporation are not appropriate for your needs in terms of asset protection. Some individuals have established a revocable or a living trust. Now, those trusts do allow your estate to bypass the cost and delay of probate and can substantially reduce and in some cases eliminate exposure to the federal estate tax, but the revocable or living trust can provide no privacy or asset protection, so they are inappropriate for our needs. Some individuals have established, in fact, an irrevocable trust which can provide some privacy and asset protection, but there is an inherent flaw in a single irrevocable trust, and it is this. If any asset within that trust is involved in civil litigation, that could necessarily drag all of your other assets and net worth into that litigation because they're all owned by the same single entity. The solution to this problem is to create the only bulletproof asset protection available by establishing a package of irrevocable trusts, and I will be explaining to you how that package works. But first, I want to explain why you need to establish this package prior to the revaluation of the dinar and these other currencies. First, by establishing this package of trusts and, again, assigning your currencies on paper to that trust package, you will preserve your privacy and your anonymity. Why? Because the assets held within our package are sealed, meaning that the general public will have no knowledge of your net worth or your actual holdings. Second, by establishing this trust package, you will be able to successfully avoid personal IRS scrutiny. If you are holding these currencies in direct title when they revalue, the IRS computers very well may decide to audit that return. In addition, excuse me, just one second. Sorry for the delay. In addition, based on the potential magnitude of this revaluation relative to your prior year's earnings, you're probably looking at a full-blown 6-year audit. Such an audit would be time-consuming. It would certainly be frustrating because it would come along at precisely the time that you are deeply involved in determining how you're going to manage and invest the proceeds from this revaluation. And third, the cost of a 6-year audit would be more than the cost of our asset protection trust. On the other hand, if your trust is in place and your currencies have been assigned to that trust, you will have successfully transferred the taxable event of this revaluation from yourself personally to the trust. Now, this is important for 2 reasons. First, there's less than a 10% chance of an IRS audit if this taxable event were to occur within a rather sophisticated trust package such as ours. And second, even if the IRS determines to audit your trust, they cannot do a 6-year audit. Why? Because the only taxable event within the trust will be the revaluation itself. The third reason you'd want to establish this trust package is because included within this package is a very specifically designed gifting subtrust. Philanthropic gifting can always be done on a tax-preferred basis, either pre- or post-RV. But in order to avoid a substantial 40% federal gift tax, you're going to need to give currencies to family and friends prior to the revaluation. Now, if you're gifting to individuals that you have no problem giving them the currency to exchange for themselves or giving them the lump sum after you've negotiated the exchange, that can be accomplished outside of a trust with a standard gift letter. But if you are hesitant for any reason to give these individuals the post-RV lump sum, you can gift to them through this specially designed gift subtrust. Because you're gifting through this subtrust, their U.S. dollars will be protected along with yours. The language of this subtrust allows you to gift up to a certain amount of a currency or currencies, meaning you can gift to them the exact U.S. dollar amount that you had in mind, irrespective of the exchange rate. But because you're gifting through this subtrust, you will have the ability to manage, invest, and distribute these funds to these individuals as you deem appropriate. This can only be accomplished through a gift subtrust, which is included in our package. The fourth reason you'd want to establish this trust package is because it will allow your estate to bypass the cost and delay of probate and the federal estate tax. I'll give you 2 quick scenarios. Scenario number 1, you purchase 5 million dinar for $5,000. The next day, those currencies revalue for $25 million. The day after that, you pass away, leaving your heirs an estate of $25 million. Now that estate must go through probate, a process that ordinarily can take anywhere from 6 to 18 months. But probate is a public disclosure process, meaning that the general public will be aware of the size of your estate, who your heirs are, and how much they each stand to inherit. So if anyone feels they have a legitimate claim against you, your estate, or your heirs, they can simply file that claim with the probate court. And that could tie the estate up for years, and in some cases even decades. And your heirs will have either limited access or no access at all to their respective inheritance until the probate process is completed. Then there's something called the federal estate tax. This is the tax that the federal government would assess in order for that estate to be transferred to heirs. Approximately $10 million of that $25 million estate would bypass any federal estate tax, but the balance could be taxed as much as 55%. Now, this scenario is not only unacceptable, it's completely and totally avoidable. Scenario number 2, you purchase 5 million dinar for $5,000. The day after that, you assign those currencies on paper to our asset protection trust package. The day after that, those currencies revalue for $25 million. The day after that, you pass away, leaving your heirs that very same estate of $25 million. But this time protected in our asset protection trust package. As a result, there will be no probate. There will be no public disclosure of your estate. Your heirs will have immediate access to their respective inheritance, and the federal estate tax will be zero, saving your heirs as much as 55% of their inheritance. The fifth reason you'd want to establish this trust package is for some very specific asset protection benefits. One pre-RV, one post-RV. Pre-RV, this trust package will allow you to circumvent something called the Uniform Fraudulent Transfer Act. What does that mean? Under our system of civil procedure, you can only be sued for what you own in direct title or the value of property at the time you transfer it out of title to an entity like our trust package. So let's take the previous example from before. You purchase 5 million dinar for $5,000. You assign the currencies to our trust. They subsequently revalue for $25 million. You begin to live a lifestyle more reflective of your newfound wealth, and a couple of years down the road, someone sees that you're living rather comfortably and decides for whatever reason that they're going to sue you. Well, this prospective plaintiff has a couple of problems. First, he or she better have a very strong case and very deep pockets, because this trust package is structured in such a way as to make it extremely expensive and extremely time-consuming to pursue civil litigation. But second, and most importantly, once any prospective plaintiff learns that pursuant to the Uniform Fraudulent Transfer Act, the only thing they could ever win by way of a civil award would be $5,000, the value of the currencies at the time you transferred them out of title to our trust package, and none of the post-RV value of $25 million, there will be no lawsuit. Post-RV, there's a benefit I like to refer to as limited liability stop-loss. This protects you from future bad acts after you have acquired this wealth. This protection is accomplished through a legal strategy called segregation of assets, and this is how it would work. Once again, we'll use the same example. You purchase 5 million dinar for $5,000, transfer them to the trust. They subsequently revalue for $25 million. Now that you have $25 million in trust, you decide to make some purchases. So you purchase a larger primary residence, a vacation home, perhaps a half a dozen rental properties for tax write-off and additional cash flow, a couple of cars, a boat, and let's say an RV. But as you purchase these items, you place each of them in their own separate subtrust to be managed by your master trust. Now, why is this critical from an asset protection standpoint? Well, let's say one day you're driving one of your new cars, you have an accident, the accident is clearly your fault, and tragically someone is seriously injured or even killed. Well, the family of the victim is going to want to sue you. But remember, civil suits are about monetary awards, and you don't legally own anything. So the plaintiffs would be left to sue the owner of the car that you were driving. Well, who owns that car? One of your subtrusts of which you are merely the beneficiary. And what's in that subtrust? Merely that one car and the car insurance policy. In that scenario, the car insurance carrier will negotiate an out-of-court settlement with the victim's family. You will mercifully not be involved in those rather unpleasant negotiations. The car insurance carrier will repair or replace your car, making you whole. And this is the critical point. All of your other assets and net worth are safely protected in the other sub-trusts. Why? Because under the law, those separate sub-trusts are separate legal entities or persons, and the plaintiffs would have no standing to pursue civilly a separate legal person. So your package of trusts work very much the way a barge would work, where all of the valuable cargo is stored in a series of small compartments. Why? In the event that any compartment is ever breached, the only potential loss would be the cargo in that one compartment. The cargo in the other compartments is safe and secure due to the firewalls, and the barge will never sink. Now, these benefits are lost to you if you do not establish your trust package prior to the revaluation of the dinar. Now, there is one other benefit, and it's this. If you are, in fact, the holder of one of our pre-RV asset protection trust packages, then you will be eligible to participate in all of the products, services, and professional referrals that will be made available to you after the revaluation of the dinar and these other currencies. I'll just make mention of one benefit here. Trusts Unlimited will be sponsoring a post-RV seminar to be held in Disney World, Florida, approximately 30 days after the revaluation of the Iraqi dinar. Present at that seminar will, of course, be the staff of Trusts Unlimited to assist you with the management and funding of your trust packages post-RV. Many of our clients have expressed desires to establish scholarship funds, foundational trusts, special needs trusts, charitable remainder trusts, and even the more complicated 501c3 nonprofit and offshore trusts. And the proper way to fund those entities is through the direct transfer of funds from your asset protection trust to those newly formed entities. We'll also have our tax specialists there. For the first time in your lives, many of you are going to be confronted with some rather sophisticated tax strategies to help substantially reduce unnecessary tax exposure. Our offshore specialists will show you that by establishing offshore title of certain assets, you can substantially reduce and in some cases eliminate future taxes on the reinvestment of the net proceeds from the revaluation itself. We'll also have our independent fee-based wealth managers there as well. They're going to be able to assist you with the repositioning of assets after the revaluation. There are a number of reasons why this is important. First, we know statistically that 95% of all windfalls, however large and from whatever source, are lost within 3 to 5 years due to inexperience, mismanagement, and fraud. We also know that under the new G20 bank bail-in provisions, the failure of banks in the future will no longer be made whole through the general taxing authority of the respective governments, but first and foremost by the confiscation of funds at the accounts at those banks. So you're going to want to get money out of the banks and at work in other markets. Lastly, the general global shift from fiat-based to Basel III compliant commodity-backed currencies in and of itself is going to create extremely volatile financial markets, and you're going to want a substantial amount of your net worth in tangible assets to avoid that volatility. Now, our trust package is initially a package of 10 trusts consisting of one master trust that will hold your assigned currencies pre-RV, your financial assets like bank accounts and investment accounts post-RV, and will manage your sub-trusts. One optional gift sub-trust, which can be converted at any time to a standard sub-trust, and then 8 additional standard sub-trusts to hold physical assets like homes, cars, boats, etc. Now, this was the simplification of a rather sophisticated trust package that we've utilized in the past for our more affluent clients, a package that had an initial cost of anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000. But when we decided to work with Dinarians nearly a decade ago, we knew that that price tag was going to be unaffordable for too many. So by restructuring that trust package, we've been able to reduce the cost to $3,000. Now, there are several ways you can pay for that. If you pay us up front, We'll discount the price to $2,500, saving you an additional $500. If that's not possible, we have a deferred payment arrangement. You'd make an initial payment of $525, which sum would basically offset our out-of-pocket costs just to produce and deliver your trust. The balance of the $3,000 would then be paid in $100 monthly installments. We will charge no interest. The only proviso is once the revaluation of the Iraqi dinar occurs, any unpaid balance would need to be paid within 30 days. With this approach, anyone that has currencies and understands the need for getting their trust in place and their affairs in order pre-RV should be in a position to afford to do so. One other suggestion, we do accept credit cards. Pay us up front with a credit card. Not only will you get the $500 discount, but the minimum payment on your card would be substantially less than the $100 a month you'd be paying us under our deferred payment arrangement. But we will work with you in whatever method works best for you. Our objective is, again, to help you get your trust in place and your affairs in order for all of the reasons that we've discussed here. Now, we're going to go to a Q&A in just a moment, but before we do, and for the benefit of our newer callers and those that will be listening to the replay over the next 24 to 48 hours, I'd like to tell you just a little bit about Trusts Unlimited and why you may want to seriously consider allowing us to assist you. Our trust package was authored by our attorney, Robert Bly. He's been a practicing attorney for over 40 years, specializing in the areas of estate planning, asset protection, and offshore planning. I myself hold degrees in political science, macroeconomics, and finance. I've worked in these areas for over 38 years, and I, along with my clients, were personally involved in the reinstatement of the Kuwaiti dinar in the early 90s. So between the two of us, Robert Bly and I have over 78 years' experience working precisely in this niche area, and I frankly know of no firm that can make that claim. Now, Bob and I have been working together for nearly a decade in the areas of estate planning, asset protection, and offshore planning, and it has been disheartening from time to time to see people walk away from sound estate planning and trust creation because of the mistaken belief that by doing so, they have somehow lost control of their assets and their affairs. Under our system of civil procedure, it's when you hold assets in direct title that you can lose control of them. And it's invariably at those times in life that you need and want control. If you've lived for any length of time, you've either experienced in your own life or through friends and family things like unexpected divorce, permanent incapacitation, the onset of dementia, premature death and prolonged and complicated probate processes. Then there are investment losses, business losses, and even bankruptcies. The number 2 loss of wealth now in the aggregate, courtesy of the information age, is identity theft. But the number 1 loss of personal wealth remains confiscation through civil litigation. Anything you own in direct title can be taken from you. So in point of fact, the only way that you can manage, protect, and control everything at all times and in all circumstances is through the establishment of a package of irrevocable trusts, and particularly if you have an asset like these currencies that you're anticipating a substantial increase in value. And we at Trusts Unlimited will do everything we can to help you accomplish your personal and financial objectives both pre- and post-RV as we understand them. Again, I'd like to thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this call. We're going to go to the Q&A. I suggest that if you're interested in the things we've discussed here, you have a pen and paper handy, because I will give you our contact information. You can contact us, get our initial package. It's a no-obligation package. You're under absolutely no obligation whatsoever by receiving the package, even though it does include everything you need should you decide to establish a pre-RV package of trusts. There's a lot of information about us, about trusts, about the revaluations. You can review the package. You can contact us. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to assist you, and there will be no consultation fee. Again, we're doing everything we can to assist you prior to the revaluation of the dinar and these other currencies for all of the reasons that we've stated here. I'm going to go ahead and open the Q&A. 2 quick rules on the Q&A. We take no service calls on the Q&A. This time is reserved for individuals that are interested in our package. And for obvious reasons, your name and number must be on the screen in order to participate in the Q&A. And while I'm waiting for any potential questions, I'd like to give you our contact information. You can go to our website, which is trusts with an S, unlimitedllc.com. Our email address is trusts with an S, unlimitedllc@gmail.com. Our phone service is 307-274-4122. If you'd like to listen to a recent conference call playback, or if you'd be kind enough to refer us to someone that might be interested in our services, you can either go to YouTube and then go to Trusts Unlimited, or you can go to IQD calls and go to Trusts Unlimited, or you can simply dial the same number that you dialed for this live call this afternoon, with the exception of the last digit. Rather than dialing a 4, you'll dial a 3, and then you'll use the same access code, which is 739-394#. If you'd like to be included on our email list, you can go to our website, go to the bottom, enter your name and email address where indicated. You should be on our email list within 24 hours. Bear in mind that we only send emails out very periodically pre-RV, but as we get close to this reinstatement, and certainly after the reinstatement of the dinar, emails will probably be going out weekly. Well, we have a few people in the call here. Our first caller is area code 405. That's 405. Go ahead.
Hi, Jim. This is Doug in Oklahoma City.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Hey, just in review, you said the U.S. and the IMF has given Iraq permission for the deletion of the 3 zeros with the proviso that they pass the election law, that they vote on the prime minister, and that they oust Iran. Am I correct in that?
Let me review that again. Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
Okay. In that, the first 2 requests are basically in-country requirements. The ouster of Iran would have to basically come with the cooperation of the Iraqis. And I just wanted to
yes.
Pardon me?
Well, in other words, to the extent that Iraq can assist, yes. I mean, there are things that are out of the hands of Iraq, but anything which Iraq can assist with, they expect to be done. One of the things, for example, would be the releasing of the names of the corrupt individuals that have been influenced by Iran. That's an example of something that Iraq could do that's under, it's within their control.
Well, about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4, there was documents smuggled out of Iraq that eventually got through the New York Times. I believe the leader of the elite guard of Iran is called Soleimani. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. That he actually went to Iraq and convened a meeting with the prime minister and others and gave them marching orders that said that they were to crush the protests at all costs.
That's correct.
And so when you think about they're basically giving Iraq orders, and that comes from the highest positions in the Iranian government, and so you just wonder, how is Iraq going to shed itself from that type of oversee?
Well, they have to make a substantial progress. Now, Soleimani will be deported. That's part of the deal. Now, I guess I should have said that it's the carrot and the stick. They want these things done, but the downside is if they don't get them done, they could fall back into UN Chapter 7. So they basically know that the status quo, they either have to move forward or they're going to fall backward.
Well, in that, the country has functioned under Chapter 7. I mean, and in that agreement, the top leaders have still been able to rob Iraq blind, because it's all about the money going to the top people.
Wait a minute, excuse me. Chapter 7 does not compel them to resolve the problem. In other words, it's time out. Chapter 7 is punishment until they resolve the problem. What they're being told is, you can proceed with all of this pending the things you need to do to satisfy us. If you don't do these things, they've already been told they could fall back into Chapter 7.
And is the punishment severe enough that the people who are the leaders would even care? Because they're stealing them. Yes. They're stealing the country blind anyway.
Yes, it's severe enough because the protesters are going to remove these people by force if necessary. They're never going to see the light, but they're being told they're going to feel the heat. They're going to be removed. And I wouldn't even put it past the United States and the international community to intercede again if necessary.
Really?
Even the Europeans understand, you know what, we don't like this Trump guy. We don't like the hardball he's playing. We don't like him pushing Iran around because we like doing business with Iran. Well, what was Trump's response? Well, you can do business with a country that has a GNP of $400 billion, or you can do business with a country like the United States, which has a GNP of $20 trillion. What's it going to be? The truth of the matter is Trump's the one behind the scenes that's basically saying, you know, it's going to be hell to pay if you don't clean this up.
Has there been definitive information that verifies that the auctions have stopped, the currency auctions have stopped, the daily auctions are not, that you know of?
My understanding is that we're being told that there will be no more currency options effective January 1st. That's what I'm told. But, you know, we've heard so many things about the currency auctions that, you know, but obviously they have to stop, and one of the reasons they have to stop is because the expulsion of Iran includes the fact that Iran's been skimming and getting hard currency through these auctions. So they have to stop for no other reason than this is the way that the Iranians have been circumventing the sanctions. So it's got to stop.
Well,
that's an example of something the Iraqis can do that the international community does not have to assist them with.
Well, it just depends on the force of the protesters, because the people that are benefiting from the skim, they're the Iranians, but they're also the people who are in the ruling class of the Iraqi government now anyway. I mean,
that's true, but remember, the largest bloc, the Sadrist bloc, are not the corrupt individuals, and they're in control. They can start, if necessary, they could just start implementing the accountability and justice law and literally start slapping the cuffs on these people. Where we are right now, it's you know what, or get off the pot. That's where these people are, the corrupt individuals. They have maintained the status quo for almost a decade because it benefited them politically and financially and legally. That's coming to an end.
Okay.
In my opinion.
One more question, if I may. You went through very nicely the scenario on the deletion of the 3 zeros, and that in country, a 25K note right now, basically at an exchange rate of 1,200 dinars per dollar, is worth basically $20.75. If they delete the 3 zeros, those notes would be worth 25 dinar at 0.83. So the value is basically the same. How is it then that happens in country, but outside the country, for people like us that are holding the currency?
Because that was the understanding that when we invested in Iraq after the removal of Saddam Hussein, we would be rewarded for them resolving their issues. Remember, Iraq per square mile could arguably be the richest country in the world. And they're going to repay the international community for the $3 to $4 trillion that has been spent since 2003 to resurrect this country. So as an international investor, now basically governments and central banks of these governments, this is exactly the kind of leverage that they got when they would liberate. That's one of the reasons they did these things, and that's one of the reasons they had wars, because there was profit to them to do it. They were going to be profited by doing this. The difference here is Executive Order 13303 says we, American individual citizens, can participate in the repayment for liberating a country. And it happens to be an extremely rich country. It's not as though it's a Mexican peso that was devalued 50%. We're talking about something that was devalued 10,000%. So we're going to be able to take advantage of the leverage just the way the government and the central banks will.
Does this, in your opinion, what is the benefit then of this to the Iraqi citizenry? You would think that after all they've suffered, that they would be able to have a currency that would give them some significant buying leverage, for those dinars that they hold in personal possession. And it seems like they're just going to basically get a wash on the value.
Well, wait a minute. If they have a dinar in their pocket that's worth 0.00083 cents, and then it's worth 83 cents the next day, you just do the math on that.
Yeah, but you said that a 25K note today for them is worth about $20, let's say rounding figures, and if they take the 3 zeros off, it's going to be a 25 dinar note. And then
yes, but each of those notes is worth 83 cents, not 0.00083 cents. You're splitting hairs here.
No, I'm just figuring the math. That's all. I'm just trying to figure it out.
They're up big time.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think that with all they've gone through, it would have to be something that would give the Iraqi people phenomenal cause for celebration and also buying power, since they're still an outside the nation consuming entity.
Remember, for the Iraqi citizen, it's not just buying power, it's quality of life. Most of them don't have clean water. They don't have electrical grid back in place. They don't have the products and services because of their closed society. All of that's going to change. They'll have money to spend and products to purchase.
It'll be wonderful for them. Jim, as always, thank you, and listen to you every week. Appreciate all the information you give us.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks so much for your call. Listen, you have a great Christmas.
You too. Thanks, Jim.
All right. Bye-bye. Our next caller is area code 323. That's 323. Go ahead.
Hello, Jim. It's Sebastian from LA. How are you?
Okay. Fine, sir. And yourself?
Very good. Here I am. I have 2-3 questions. Which I start first? Okay, first is don't you, sometimes I think we get desperate about this thing. I think it's not only me, everybody I think who listens. And my question is, I know you are very informed, more than us. Don't you think they might keep playing with us forever in this thing? This is my first question.
Are you saying that just may not happen now or for a long time?
I mean, yeah, because we hear one this thing or the other,
yeah.
Obstacle, another. And sometimes I think, I don't know if, I've been waiting for some time. I think, of course, less than you and so many people, what, saying 19, yeah, that's my first question.
Yeah, okay. From the standpoint of an investor, yeah, any investment can hypothetically go south. So when you invest, you look at the potential downside against the potential reward. Now, once again, what's the difference between Iraq and let's say some of the other countries like Vietnam or Indonesia or Zimbabwe? What's the difference? Why that currency look superior to the others? Well, in the investment world, you say follow the money. The international community has dropped between $3 and $4 trillion to resurrect Iraq. So they want their money back. Add to that the fact that Iraq, as I've said before, per square mile, might be the richest country in the world. It has the second largest known oil reserves. in the Middle East. It's got the sweetest crude in the world, meaning it has the lowest sulfur content. Why is that important? Because 2/3 of petroleum is not used in the combustion engine. It's used in production of glass, plastics, textiles, pharmaceuticals, electronics, nanotechnologies, and all of that. And the low sulfur content means it's much more easily refined. The fact that the Tigris-Euphrates River Delta flows right through a rock means that it's much more easily mined in terms of precious and industrial metals. We also know that geographically it's an extremely important location. It's the gateway to the east. Oil comes from the east. Products flow to the east from the west. So for all of these reasons, Iraq is extremely important. Add to the fact that Iran's last chance to have hegemony over the Middle East is their control of Iraq, and that's going to dissipate as well. So for all of these reasons, Iraq is a very important country financially, geopolitically, geographically, and all these other reasons.
Yes, very good. Thank you so much. The other question will be, I understand. Thanks a lot for that information. Another question that I have for you is that, and some time ago you mentioned that if this thing we wouldn't have RB by November, I think you said, you would tell your dunks and then to buy IQDs. I don't know if you said it already or you did it already. Of course, I just take it like you're not advising anybody, but you're giving your point of view of what you are doing according to your knowledge.
Well, I'm not the Oracle of Delphi. I'm not saying because I say something it's necessarily what's going to happen. It's just in my opinion. I think the other currencies are going to go either farther down the road and maybe not at all. If I could, the way I say it is if I could only own one currency, it would be the dinar. If I had to eliminate one currency, personally, it would be the ZIM, and I have a substantial amount of ZIM. Now, I am actually talking to a couple of people. I'm going to probably be selling half of all of my other currencies to them at a discount just because I'm just going to take that money and roll it into dinar. But that's just what I'm doing. It's as though I was, talking to you about your stock portfolio and I was telling you what I was personally going to do with my stocks. That doesn't mean it would be the right thing for you. There's a lot of issues that are involved in making decisions like that. But for myself, I am reducing my holdings in the other pre-valued currencies and increasing my dinar. Now I'm going to have to buy dinar this week, either because, things could happen quickly with the reinstitution or the supply of dinar could just disappear. So, that's just me.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's very clear. Yes, I understand what you say. Exactly. Thank you so much. The last question is, Jim, that you know that we have the trustee. I got the trust from your company. You remember me, right? Of course.
Yes.
Yes. And I need to know if your company has a letter, like to change. If a letter that we have to give a letter to the trustee, prison trustee, in order to change the trustee.
To change a trustee, obviously we cannot amend your trust without written permission. What you would do is you would send us an email giving us your name, the name of your master trust, the name of the person you wish to remove, and the name of the person you wish to replace them with. We would contact you immediately and walk through the process.
Oh, very good. Thank you so much. I appreciate so much your guidance on us because some of us don't know, much of those things. Jim, thank you very much. Excuse me?
If you want to make any change, like I said, contact us by email. But whether we hear from you or not, you have a wonderful Christmas and New Year.
Thank you. Same to you. Thank you and to your family. Blessings to you and your family. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Jim.
Navidad, mi amigo.
Feliz Navidad. Yeah, Feliz Navidad. Let's sing that song. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Okay, our next caller is area code 281. That's 281. Go ahead.
Hi, Jim. This was Robert from Texas. Great call, as always. You indicated that you were getting ready to purchase some more dinar yourself. Can you share with us who you are making your dinar purchases from?
Well, I can give you a couple names, but I haven't purchased any Dinar in a while, and I'm not sure if they're up and running. I had, let me see, it was safedinar.com.
Okay.
Then there was the Treasury Vault.
Wow.
And then there was exchange.com. It's just an X, not EX, exchange.com. Those are the three that I recall. Now, I may call all three of them just to see what I can get, the pricing and all of that. I'm sure the pricing is going to be virtually identical, but, I'll talk to them and see what I want to do.
Okay. Well, hey, that's good for me. Thank you so very much. Greatly appreciate it, sir.
Sure. Anything else?
That'll be all.
Okay. Take care. Merry Christmas, my friend.
Merry Christmas to you and your family as well, sir.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Our next caller is area code 312. That's Les.
Yes, old Oracle of Delphi himself.
Yeah.
Good afternoon and good morning, Jim.
Yes, sir.
Had an idea.
Today, so, what's the stump Jim today? What you got for me?
There's no stumping today. I just have the question. I didn't listen. I got on because I did from getting on early so I can listen to the intel, so I don't have any questions regarding that. But I do have a question. I want to start a company. So in this company I'm going to start funds for the company. Is that correct? Because you had mentioned something about 501c.
Oh, yeah. Any entity like that you wish to establish, we will have people to assist you. Now, you can work with our people or you can work with other individuals. You may come to us and want to work with our people, or you just may want basic, foundational information. Either way, we'll be happy to assist you. That's part of the program that we've provided for, all of our trust holders. But you're no different than a lot of people. We've had so many people call with all of these things they want to do, and they want to get started pre-RV, and we just say, look, just hold off on all of that. If you think this is going to happen, get your trust in place and buy more currency. Don't try to do all these other things because you don't know when it revals. You don't know what the rate's going to be. You don't know what the tax issues are. So, come to the seminar, with your ideas and your proposals. Actually, as soon as the currency reinstitutes, even before it revals, we won't be doing these calls anymore. Our calls will be dealing primarily with all of these other post-RV issues. So we'll probably have guests on the call that will be dealing with the types of questions you are asking. But your general answer is whatever you want to accomplish, we'll have someone there to assist you.
Sounds like a winner. Thanks again, Jim. Say hi to the professor,
sir.
And have a great day.
Well, you're probably going to be my last call for 2019. I've enjoyed our calls. You and your family have a great Christmas and a Happy New Year, my friend.
Thanks, Jim. Enjoy your holiday, and likewise to you.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Les was, again, our last caller. Again, I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time to listen to this call, especially those of you that have been kind enough to put up with me and listen to the calls that we've sponsored weekly over this year. Hopefully, January of 2020 will be the reward that we've all been very patiently waiting for. Again, there will be no call next week. There may be a call January 1st. You could call in to see if that's the case, but there will be no call next week. So on behalf of myself and our entire staff at Trusts Unlimited, we want to thank all of you for your patronage and your patience. We want to thank you for listening to our calls. We wish you all a very happy Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we look forward to good things starting January of 2020. Bye-bye, everyone. God bless.